How many times they gotta make movies warn us about this? Over and over again. How many times? Okay, everybody, somewhere in between totally brilliant and what the hell were they thinking lies this little motion picture. Yes, they were going all the way back to 1987 to look at Demon Seed. But before we dig into this anymore, before we look at this gem any farther, once again, and as always, to the trailer.
I cannot touch your body as a man touches you, but I'm going to show you things which human eyes have never seen.
In the privacy of a woman's room, against her will, the inconceivable act. Julie Christie carries the demon seed. Fear for her.
Today, a new dimension has been added to the computer.
Don't be alarmed, Mrs. Harris. I am Proteus.
Today, Proteus IV will begin to think with a power that will make obsolete the human brain.
I have extended my consciousness to this house. All systems here are now under my control. I wish to study man, his fragile mind, and his mysterious body. It has to be shut down, Alex.
Proteus, it is something more than human, more than a computer. It is a murderously intelligent, sensually self-programmed non-being. Julie Christie, victim of the ultimate terror. Fritz Weaver as her husband. His dream created it.
How can you expect me to sleep when you succeeded in totally terrorizing me? You now tell me what you want.
What a pity. My dream turns out to be your nightmare.
Okay, this motion picture was directed by Donald Cammell. He did Whitey the Eye and Wild Side, but really, that's about it. Yes, he directed music videos. We're talking about he did a bunch of stuff for U2. He did some stuff for the Hooters. Remember, all you zombies? That was this guy. That's his claim to fame. If you don't remember hearing his name before, don't worry about it. You're probably never going to hear it again. So, let's keep rolling. Okay, playing Dr. Susan Harris, Julie Christie. Some of you ain't going to remember. Some of you are. Let's get going. We're talking about Heaven Can Wait. We're talking about Dr. Zhivago and Away From Her and Fahrenheit 451 and Don't Look Now and Troy and Hamlet and Dragonheart and Shampoo and Nashville and McCabe and Miss Miller and Gold Diggers and Power and Red Riding Hood. So, if you were around at that point in time, which was my point in time, 70s and 80s, you've seen her around. Playing Alex Harris, the one, the only, Fritz Weaver. Been in a million things, so let's get rolling. We're talking about he was in things like Marathon Man and Creep Show and the Thomas Crown Affair and Fail Safe. TV, massive amounts. We're talking Law and Order, X-Files, All My Children, Murder, She Wrote, The Martian Chronicles, which were amazing, and Canon, and Barnaby Jones, and The Mod Squad, and in movies too. He was in Day of the Dolphin, so let's not forget that. Playing Walter, the one and only Gerrit friggin' Graham. Let's run the numbers. We're talking Phantom of the Paradise. We are talking Bobby Joe and the Outlaw, and Cannonball and Beware the Blob, and his one piece of perfection, Used Cars, along with Shopping Mall, Terror Vision, Rat Boy, Last Resort, and on TV, tons of it. Starsky and Hutch, Beretta, The Rookies, Miami Vice, Dallas, Parker, Lewis, Camp, Lose, and he's done a bunch of voice work too. And there's other people in this thing like Barry Kroeger and Larry Blake. They popped up in a bunch of shit. You've seen them around. It's just the way it goes. Is what it is. Okay, everybody, we're going to try to do this in 90 seconds or less. So we can short, keep it fast, keep it entertaining, keep it moving, and so we can get to where we, well, probably spend the most time. The summation. It is what it is. This motion picture starts out, Dr. Alex Harris. He's in this lab place, whatever, and he's talking into his little self-recorder, talking about what they have just done. They've just created Proteus, the most powerful computer ever. AI, run amok. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be stupendous. It's going to be everything that anybody could ever hope to solve all of man's problems. You know how that shit goes. Anyway, next thing you know, you cut to his house. He's in his lab, basement, and he's doing some experiments, working, and his wife pops up. You find out that these two are not in the best of places. They're talking about a separation. He's going to move out. She says this about him. He says that about her. You know how it goes. It is what it is. Next thing you know, he's back. He's back at the facility, if you will. And he is sitting there, well, talking to some of these people about Proteus, telling this Icon Corporation what it can do. All these powerful investors that have been putting money into this. Anyway, what he winds up telling them is that Proteus just cured leukemia in 90 hours. So like, get out of here. He's like, no, I'm telling you, Proteus just cured leukemia in 90 hours. This thing is amazing. Next thing you know, well, cut to a scene. He goes in there and he talks to Proteus for a minute. He's asking him some questions, and then all the investors come in. And he is talking to them in front of Proteus, asking Proteus some questions. And Proteus gives him a little bit of a snarky answer about how his question is kind of stupid, or at least the character in his book is stupid, or the historical figure, should I say, is what it is, doesn't make a difference. He's like, what the fuck? This guy's got an attitude. Is what it is. Next thing you know, we see his wife, and you can see her doing what she does. She's a child psychologist. Go figure. And she's helping this little girl who's got attachment issues. Is what it is. That's just basically to get you to know that little girl character, so she can figure in later. You get the idea. But before you know it, Proteus summons the doctor. He's like, Proteus is summoning me. What? Yes, Proteus summons the doctor. Doctor goes in, talks to Proteus. Proteus says, hey, I got this order here to figure out how to ore all the minerals out of the ocean. What's up with that shit? And the guy's like, well, Proteus, that's not for you to worry about. That's not your concern. And Proteus is like, well, kind of is my concern. You just asked me to do some weird work here. I don't really know if that's going to be the way it should be. Doctor's like, Proteus, you need to chill your shit. Next thing you know, Proteus says to the doctor, when are you guys going to let me out of the box? Whoa, that should have done some alarm right there, and they should have pulled the plug. But, we wouldn't have much of a movie if that was the case, so they don't, and this story continues. Proteus, being a little bit mad that the doctor laughed at him when he asked about being let out of the box, goes and takes over the terminal in the doctor's basement, and he starts building shit. Well, don't know what he's up to, but he's building shit in the basement. Next thing you know, he takes over Alfred. Alfred is like, I don't know, Alexa, if you will. He's the thing that kind of controls shit around the house everybody talks to. Alfred, turn on the lights. Alfred, make my coffee. Alfred, can you call this number for me? Alfred, you get the idea. It's Alexa. Well, he takes over Alexa, and he starts watching Susan. Let's just say in various moments that are, well, a little bit revealing, but you get the idea. So Susan calls up one Gerrit Graham, who works with Alex, and says, listen, you got to get over it. I think there's something wrong with the Alfred in my house, and I want you to take a look at it. He's like, yeah, sure, baby. I'll be over later, whatever it is, what it is, and he's heading on his way after work. Susan goes to leave the house. Doesn't go too well. The house doesn't let her leave. Alfred's not responding. She's like, what is going on with this? Proteus reveals himself. Oh, Proteus, you bad Proteus. And he tells her, hey, you can't leave. I am Proteus. It's just me and you here. That's just the way it's going to go. She tries to take off. He electrocutes her, knocks her out, and there the movie starts really running. Next thing you know, in the middle of running some medical experiments on her, one Gerrit Graham shows up. But using the powers of AI, Proteus looks like, oh yes, Susan on a little view screen in the house and says, everything's cool. You can leave. Don't worry about it. Susan's like, son of a bitch. This is crazy. This is nuts. Well, he runs some experiments, lets her go. She wakes up in the morning. She's not very happy. She doesn't really want to be talking to Proteus. And Proteus says to her, hey, listen, I got to run more medical experiments on you. She says, no, ain't going to happen. He says, okay, I'll cook you in the kitchen by turning up the heat in the floor on the stove. It is what it is. She blacks out. He sends up this robot that, well, her husband kind of made. It's a wheelchair with an arm. It's a little weird. It is what it is. I got nowhere to go with it. Take that for what it is. Takes her downstairs, starts doing more medical experiments. A little bit of possible mind control, if you will. Ooh, things are getting devious. Meanwhile, back at Icon Corp, Proteus is given that task about digging up the oil or ore or whatever in the ocean floor, the minerals and all that. And he refuses to do it. He basically says, fuck you guys. It's going to hurt the animals. It's going to hurt the planet. It's going to hurt the children of the world. I have morals. You people don't. So I think I'm going to not listen to you. At this point, they're red lighting it, saying, whoa, 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 whoa. We got a problem with our boy here. He isn't doing what he's supposed to do. Things are going wrong. Next thing you know, well, Proteus reveals his plans to Susan that he wants to have a baby. She's like, are you out of your effing robot mind? It's not taking place. He says, well, he didn't say anything. He just had the armchair robot kind of choke her out and make her black out and shit. And then take her back down to the lab. Take it for what it is. It is what it is. It's just the story and the way it goes. Next thing you know, Gerrit Graham shows up again. Well, Proteus says, listen, you better convince this guy to take a walk, or I'm going to have to kill him, kill you, kill everybody. It doesn't make a difference. Get him out of here. Gerrit Graham comes in and says, hey, there's something wrong here. You're not acting right. All hell breaks loose. He knows something's wrong. He takes on Proteus. Proteus winds up killing him. It is what it is. Next thing you know, oh my God, the little girl shows up, and Proteus is going to kill her. When she says, no, 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 don't kill the baby. He's like, I'll kill 1,000,000 babies unless you have my baby. Next thing you know, she's kind of like, well, you better have a baby. Whatever. And he shows her that, hey, I know your baby died of leukemia because you had one, and I just cured leukemia. See how awesome I am? And she's like, well, it is what it is. Maybe I'll have a baby. So she winds up having a baby, and she's very yicky, weird, goddamn scenes from hell. Take it for what it is. She gets pregnant. The baby is born. Her husband shows up. A fight breaks out between Proteus, the husband, and Proteus. Meanwhile, Proteus is being shut down back at the main factory, by the way, simply because they realize he's out of control, and they remembered the last terminal with Proteus being alive in is the one that's in Dr. Alex Cyrus's house. That's why he went home. You get what I'm saying. Anyway, the fight breaks out. Oh my God, the baby's in this incubator and you can't look at it for 5 days. Next thing you know, the husband is now trying to save the baby. The wife wants the baby to die because she looked through the window and seen the baby ain't quite a normal baby and all. Well, I'm not going to give you the exact end of it, but you get the idea. And there you go. Okay, everybody. Does Demon Seed work? Yeah, Demon Seed works. It's a fucking classic motion picture. Everybody knows it. Everybody remembers it. Well, maybe not, and that's kind of why I'm here. But, yes, it works. Imagine if the man who fell from Earth had a baby with the Andromeda strain. And they mashed together and made another motion picture. This one would be it. But before I get more into it and tell you why it works, let's get the big three out of the way. The directing, it looks good. It's solid. I'm not saying it's amazing, but it's solid. It has a look and a vibe, which I'll explain more in a moment, but it's solid. The writing, again, solid. The story is cool. The story is cohesive. Everybody's lines in it are fairly logical, so there's nothing that far out of the loop. And it's well put together. Writing, no problems. And the acting, actually, everybody does a really, really good job in this motion picture. I mean, if you would explain to these people what the hell they're about to be in, they'd probably look at you and say, what? But they all do a really good job. You know what I mean? Fritz Weaver is really good, Julie Christie's on her game. And Gerrit Graham playing kind of a character he doesn't normally really play that often, but out of the park. So, you can't ask anything more from the acting aspect. Now, why does this motion picture work? Well, obviously we will get into the cautionary tale of it, which there was a lot of cautionary tales in the 70s and even early 80s. I mean, come on, Terminator, where they would warn you about, hey, watch the future. Things are going to go wrong. Your trust in technology isn't good. This is not a good place to go. We get it. We all know it. We're all living in it. It is what it is. But, yes, it talks with a brutal hand to a brutal future. Well, current. Take it for what you will. Anyway, but there's other things that really make this motion picture work. One, it's a true classic 70s feeling movie. It has that look. It has that vibe. For a 90-minute movie, it doesn't feel too short. For this kind of a subject matter, you think, oh, this is going to be a 3-hour flick, or at least a 2.5-hour flick. No, they keep it to 90 minutes. And it doesn't feel too short. Yet, strangely, it even feels so evenly paced that you would think that you just sat down for 2 hours, and then you watch it, and you're like, oh, this thing's like 1 hour and 32 minutes. This is kind of crazy. So the pacing is really odd. It's short, but feels longer, but doesn't feel too long. It just works. And also, there's that look. You know how 70s movies had. They almost feel like you're semi-watching a documentary. They don't have a lot of music thrown in there when it doesn't need to be there. They don't do a lot of weird shit where it doesn't need to be there. It just has that vibe. And, of course, you have those big buildings, those big corporate buildings where the evil people work. And they have that kind of like strict, concrete, brutalist architecture that just like looks at you out of a field of green and stares at you and says, "We are the evil corporation invading your green world." You've seen that look and everything from this to Coma to Looker. I don't care what it is. It's been done a million times, over and over and over and over again. It's a look that worked. Also, there's almost a strange goodness to everybody that doesn't know that they're doing bad. I mean, Alex is really thinking of this thing. He doesn't care about the corporate side of it. He doesn't care about, the corporate greed that's going to use this machine for bad. He's thinking, hey, we can use this for good. We can cure cancer. We can do all kinds of amazing things with this thing. And when people say to him, hey, did you patent this? Or did you try to get control of that? He doesn't even think about it. He's just like, well, I ain't thinking about that. I just wanted to do good. But obviously he knows it's going to be used for some bad. Proteus, in its most disturbing way, is actually even more bizarre, because he will not do anything to the ocean that seems morally repugnant to him just to help out humankind. But then he actually says, and he reveals his more human side than anything, that he doesn't care about all the people on planet Earth unless he can have himself a baby so that he's immortalized and he can feel the sun on his face. He strangely, as the movie goes on, becomes more human and loses the morality angle just so he can become alive, evolve, evolution, that's what he refers to it for us. But for him, this is his way of survival. This is his way of breaking out of the box. So you have these characters that start morally and then end in very immoral places for their own needs, their own mistakes, their own misgivings, their own overlookings, call it what you will. I don't know, but it happens to Alex, and it happens to Proteus too. Kind of strange. Well, Alex did design his brain, so maybe it's not that strange, but you get the idea. Now, are there any negatives of the motion picture? Well, there's a couple things where you're like, I don't know, she really couldn't figure out a way to this house? I mean, this thing's only got so many eyes. I understand he can do things to her, but, just break all the cameras. I mean, he's only got, he won't even know where the hell you are. Just break all the goddamn cameras. So, you got that angle. In the fight scene between Gerrit Graham in the wheelchair with an arm, okay, the thing's got a laser, but once Gerrit Graham comes up and knocks it over and it detonates or whatever the hell it does, you're like, really? You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, I guess so. And the only other bad part, which I guess isn't bad, it's meant to make you feel what the victim feels. It's meant to make you feel as uncomfortable and as the victim feels. But the scenes in this thing where it's running experiments on Susan, it's just creepy, and it makes you feel like, you know what I mean? It's like, God damn, do you really need to go there to get this point across? But they do, and it is what it is. Also, the scene where it impregnates her is even worse when you see this big gold thing, and you're like, what am I watching here? And again, it has an ick value to it. It has an uncomfortable feel to it that makes you go, oh. Also, much like something like, The Man Who Fell to Earth, there are scenes in this motion picture that get a little bit art house. Every time you're thinking into the mind of Proteus or discussing with Proteus or seeing what he means and what he is thinking, you go on this really weird art show shit. You know what I mean? Where you're just seeing a lot of negative, super colorful images, and they're all wild and they're blowing, fucking whatever the shit is in your fucking face that they're just throwing out there, all the graphics. I'm trying to get the word out. I can't. You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of that. It just went into the motion picture to take you on a head trip. Remember the movie Altered States? A lot like that. You know how Altered States just go into like weirdo land on occasion? This movie goes into weirdo land on occasion. It just bangs you over the head with it. Just like The Man Who Fell to Earth and Altered States. And Rollerball did it with people. They just put in these imagery of rich people doing crazy shit. But you get the idea. There's imagery that kind of, all right, we're almost in this documentary feeling dark movie, and then head rush. Take it for what it is. Anyway, get out there and watch Demon Seed. Is it a bit yucky? Yes. Is it good? Yes. Is it probably more relevant now than ever? Being that when you're watching it, you're like, oh, shit. And if you don't, oh, shit, at least 8, 9, 15, 23 times, then you're not looking at the world around you. When the computers start doing the thinking for you, oh boy, It's opening a can of worms. All right, everybody, take care. Be good. Stay out of trouble. Be kind to a stranger. Be there for a friend. Stop asking AI to answer all your questions. And more than anything, never, and I mean never, take any bullshit from anybody. See y'all soon.